what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you're going to get a prize and find no prize in the box?
You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
Freehand is beating his net at the plate. Crawford is over there watching. Good see, sir. You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on. Oh, I must be in the front row.
Hey, how's everyone doing out there? Welcome to a Wordle Media presentation of Enemy of My Enemy. I'm the real MVP.
Of this podcast, for sure. You are the only Pete of this podcast, but we'll be talking about another MVP throughout this show. But I am Ryan. I am a lifelong Tigers fan and a Cubs fan since the late 1990s. You and I are two old friends. You are a lifelong White Sox fan and a newer Brewers fan since they've become a thorn in the side of the Cubs. Since we're old friends and hate each other's baseball teams, that makes us enemy of my enemy. This is episode 195. This is instant reaction to Game 3 of the Cubs-Sox series. The game just ended about 10 minutes ago. We'll get our takes on that throughout the eventful series. Prior to that, this is a hell of a week for you and I, as the White Sox also visited Detroit over the weekend and basically ended the season for my Tigers, at least our division hopes. So we'll cover that. But you and I have had an intense week or so in texting and trying to be cordial, trying to be funny, trying to be assholes. It all worked out in the end. We're still podcasting today. So I think you're going to have a little bit of Brewers news at the end, but no one gives a fuck about them. They're better than everybody in the world right now. So
that's why people care. That's why people care.
Yeah, we'll see. But I guess with that, we might as well go ahead and jump into the news.
Now here's the news.
It's the news.
The big news.
Oh, fuck, Scotty, that is good news. That is great news, man.
Let's bring it all home as Major League Baseball presents This Week in Baseball.
Sox win! Sox win! Sox win!
Hey, I'm happy for you over there. You gotta win. I thought you'd be all sour coming into this podcast after losing the first two games of the Cubs-Sox series in dramatic fashion previous two evenings. But yeah, you got it done today despite having to go with a opener for the second game in a row. You guys are kind of mastering the same technique the Tigers did 2 years ago with pitching. Are they calling it pitching chaos on the South Side?
Well, it's called only having 3 starters on the roster right now. So
yeah, familiar with that.
Yeah, it's technically you have 2 former starters in the pen, so it kind of works.
It worked today.
Yeah. Someone, Jose Urquidy, took the time machine back to his Astros days.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wasn't ready for that.
Neither was
Cubs
I.
Cubs only got 2 runners in scoring position all the game.
Yeah,
it was just that was not what I was expecting. I think we just can't have Cubs Sox during the day anymore. It was just kind of a boring game. Like nothing really happened compared to the previous 2 evenings.
Well, the wind was blowing in a lot, and I say, what do you think? About 5 home runs got canceled today because of the wind.
Yeah, for sure. I forget who hit it, but Antonacci caught one up in the ivy there that would have easily been out.
That was Bregman.
Yeah.
PCA and Vargas both would have had home runs offsetting one another in the first. There would have been two solo home runs. There was a few more opportunities there too, but if you love baseball, there was nothing to dislike about this series.
Honestly, I think Monday night that's a top 5 regular season game I've ever seen with, 5 different lead changes and everything else. Well, I guess we'll get to that in a second, but yeah, if you didn't, people don't have, unless you're from Chicago or a transplant from Chicago, from Michigan, I guess you might not care, but my God, that was just some awesome fucking baseball.
Yeah. There are 2 teams that are, headed to the playoffs as of right now, and they have played 2 series against each other before the Sox were even considered, the first one really, contenders at that point. People were like, when are the wheels falling off? Except for one person who's sitting in the chair right over here right now.
Oh yeah. MVP of the podcast
of the world, but of SEP baseball. I lost my thought now. But you're talking about two series that one of the, I mean, it could have been a 6-0 win. I mean, either team could have won all six of the games, or, I mean, it was so tightly played, all of that.
Yeah, the first series in the South Side back in May, Cubs blew you out in game 1. Yeah. It was 10-5 on that Friday night. And then the other games were back and forth. And the third game, of course, was that Edgar Caro walk off in the 10th?
Miners, Edgar Caro walk off in the 10th.
It's almost like game 1 of this series picked up right where that game left off.
Oh, it most certainly did.
Yeah, like the 5 lead changes I mentioned. We'll get to PCA. Maybe we'll do this backwards. I need to talk about PCA.
Go ahead.
I mean, that Monday night, he crested the 30-30 mark with 2 home runs, one to lead off the game and one to walk off the game. I mean, if he's going to be, I don't know how you put a better resume bullet point together than that for MVP of the league. It's funny because Ohtani keeps hitting home runs like almost the exact same pace. If PCA hits 2, Ohtani hits 2. So, but that war keeps spreading because Ohtani's not playing defense and he's not pitching. And PCA is playing some of the best defense you'll ever see and is stealing bases. So, I mean, Wrigley Field was just nuts on Monday night and Tuesday night for sure. It seemed like a 50-50 crowd. Like it was not overwhelmingly Cubs. It seems like there's a lot more. I mean, White Sox fans are always present at these series, but it's not as, it just seemed like this time there was a lot more, which with good reason. You're far more competitive than you've been in recent years. But did you notice that you were probably only listening to the CSN broadcast the whole series, or I was listening to Marquee. I don't know if the sound is different or how that, but what were your perceptions?
Yeah, I thought I feel like there was probably 50-50 crowds pretty much at both of those series this year. And usually as of late, because the Sox have not been good, there's always almost seems like there were more Cub fans sometimes at the games at the rate. But
yeah, I've noticed that.
But I would say there was some very loud chants of "Let's go White Sox," and
yeah,
I think the thing that really caught my ear was my favorite obligatory boos on the throw over to first base. And when the Cubs will throw over to first base, it sounded like a White Sox home game with the boos. And I was like, that's crazy. Like,
people hate that.
They hate the throw over to first.
Even though you can only do it twice now.
But.
Yeah. Again, in game 1, I'm going out of order. We'll get to game 2 in a second. But of course, the big, I don't know if it's controversy, but the big talking point, at least after the game, was after PCA was really going for the cycle in extra innings. There, he already had a home run, had a double, had another hit. The question is, with the base open, do you walk PCA at that point to get to say a Suzuki? And will Venable, answer that question? But I don't know if you had thoughts about that, or I do, but I'm not sure where you land on that. If you thought it was a mistake, or if he was kind of damned if he did or damned if he didn't.
It's tough, but I probably would have, as they did, and
pitched to him.
I probably would have walked him.
Oh, walked him. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the problem one is you blew a scoring opportunity at the top half of the inning, so now your back's already up against the wall.
Right.
You got the hottest. I mean, wasn't hitting just the White Sox. He's been hitting everything as of late. So it's not like you didn't know that coming into the series. Now, granted, Suzuki had a homer in the first 2, but I think
it's not like it's an obvious option by any means.
No, I think PCA, with his ability to do big things at big times, was, it was perfect for him to, cap off his night. Yeah,
that's the stage he dominates and looks for, relishes. But
so
I don't think a manager could necessarily go off of that. Venable it seemed like he was going for the lefty-lefty matchup, which should be advantage.
Understandable, pitcher. Yeah. That's why I kind of like was like, but
the problem is PCA's got like a 930 OPS against lefties. I mean, he just crushes them. But even beyond that, Seiya Suzuki, the righty, is not as good a matchup, and he's got an even better OPS against lefties than PCA. So I think the people that were going after Venable are just kind of playing the results. Oh, you lost the game, so the manager must have fucked up.
Yeah.
Do anything other than what happened, and the armchair manager from behind their keyboards are never incorrect. Just the opposite of what cost your team is correct. So it's just in the moment, I don't think there was a right or wrong decision. It's just, I mean, movie stuff, with PCA getting the leadoff home run and the walk-off home run. So maybe you could stomach it. A Sox fan could stomach it better if you didn't give it up to PCA and gave it up to Seiya instead. But it's neither here nor there, I guess. But I don't know if you had heard many people that were pissed off at Venable about that.
I didn't get any texts that were like, why didn't he just walk PCA? So it was more like, damn, we got beat, by, you could stomach losing to either one of the next two hitters in the lineup. It's when you go deeper, and then if you lost the game, then you might, it might be more painful. I mean,
I just meant the vitriol that the South Side has towards PCA.
Oh, I have it, and I have it. And
you're almost like the South Side bride, as angry as she was.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to suck his dick. So.
Yeah, I saw lots of memes of that after that home run with it. SMFD Biggie, I think is the acronym that was going around. But
did you see the fake the AI video of Pete Crow Armstrong after?
I tend to close those out as soon as I can tell it's AI, but
it was kind of comical. It's his post. They took the post game interview at the locker, or anyone, I don't even know, it could have been anyone, and they had shame on the Dodgers for not getting Murakami. The Sox got him, and that's old news, getting Japanese players. And then then he was like, oh, and then they got this Pope guy. He's probably doing some Pope shit, and that's why they're winning these baseball games. It was just so ridiculous that you knew it was never even close to being real, and you could see the glitches with the mouth and everything.
Those I appreciate because I can shut them off immediately and know what they are. I'm terrified of what, once people get really good at this shit, that what you're going to see and not understand that wasn't real. But should we move to game 2? The clown glove.
Yes,
of Kevin Gausman.
I mean, I'm not even sure that glove is legal. It's like a softball glove or some shit.
I never noticed his glove. This was only the third time I really paid attention to him pitching now with the Cubs. But you texted me right away saying he's got the clown glove on. I'm like, I never noticed, and I wouldn't have noticed if you hadn't pointed it out. And now I can't unsee it now, how giant that glove is. You're right. And it's bright red. So yeah. I just thought it was funny. I didn't realize clowns actually wore gloves. I don't know. I didn't know the clown glove thing. Then I understood what you were talking about.
Yeah, well, I was like, I thought I was crazy at first, and I didn't text you till I looked it up, and then I saw all these comments about it, Kevin. Yeah. And then there was an actual story about how he wears a 13-inch tall glove because it helps conceal the splitter better. And then I'm like,
I was so proud of your hardball deep throat investigative journalism skills there. You made a joke, but then you did the research and found out what the fuck was really happening there.
Well, because I thought I was crazy at first. And Robin's it's even worse because it's red. It makes it stick out even worse. But there was one point where he was he had it up and it looked like the glove went from his stomach to above the crest, the logo on his.
Well, and now there's so many Photoshop versions of that where the glove's the size of his entire body. Just craziness. So
I mean, there was a clip of Kane playing catch before the game with one of those giant home run derby gloves, and I'm like, oh, did he borrow Kevin Gausman's glove?
I just can't believe you brought that up a few innings before, and just a couple innings later, suddenly Kevin Gausman's glove hand is having all sorts of issues
because of the weight.
I think it is, because he's got to put his fingers in there in a really fucked up way to be able to actually close it and move it around, because it's so ginormous. So he first takes his glove off and has to have the trainer come out because his thumb is completely locked in like that bizarre.
That was crazy, man.
It looked awful. Like I don't know. I didn't know what was going on. And obviously, it was a thumb cramp, which I've never. I may have had a thumb cramp once, which it's not fun. But then, he soldiered through it. It's just the glove hand. You'd think, well, as long, I was relieved to hear that wasn't his pitching hand when I first saw it. So I was thinking it might not be a big issue, but then he has to come out of the game because he took his glove off again. And his like whole hand was like twitching almost after they had already given him the gel packs and all sorts of things to combat the dehydration or whatever he was facing that caused the cramps. But I think it's so weird. I mean, your weather's a little bit different. Was it super humid last night? I mean, it wasn't. Yeah,
it was pretty humid.
It was beautiful here, but it seems strange that a professional pitcher that's been in the league this long would have cramping issues at any point. Like, how is he not maintaining his hydration prior to his start? They've got a ridiculous regimen that they go through every start, a ritual. So I was just surprised. I've never seen anything like that. Like a pitcher having to leave because of his glove hand.
Yeah, I know.
Let alone just minutes after you were making fun of his glove. So it was just too perfect and just fucking annoying. Like, how does this happen? The other annoying thing about it is Kevin Gausman has not been good with the Cubs so far in his 3 starts. I gave you a bunch of stats over that. I think you can just isolate his. I think he's the 4th in that group I sent you.
Yeah, he's 16 innings pitched. He does have 16 Ks, but a 6.19 ERA and a almost 1.4 WHIP. So
yeah, that's not going to do it. That is not what they were trading for at the deadline, I don't think. But he didn't. I don't know. He didn't look awful last night, but you only get 4 1/3 innings out of him. That's not what you're looking for to hurt your bullpen even further than it is. But so he's been disappointing. Clay Holmes today was much better. He's the one I was more fired up about after they acquired him at the deadline. I think he had 5 1/3, 1 run. What are his overall stats? I think he might be second on that list.
Yeah, 16 innings, 2.81 ERA, 5 Ks, and a 1.125 WHIP.
The Ks are not impressive, but everything else is. That's all you really need are the other numbers from him. So far, Clay Holmes is definitely the better of the 2 trade deadline acquisitions. Other notes from Game 2: the rain delay. I got to admit, I went to bed after like I thought it was 90 minutes, but I guess the whole rain delay was only 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It came at a ridiculously opportune moment for the Cubs, as Grant Taylor had entered the game in the half inning previous and was not able to come back, of course, because he had to sit around for 88 minutes.
Right.
That worked out very well in the Cubs' way. Not unlike what you pointed out, another rain delay that's worked out in the Cubs' favor historically about 10 years ago. But you were also opining that maybe some potions, maybe some spells were being cast by.
Yeah, I thought Vassell would give an inspirational speech for the Sox, and
that made me laugh out loud. That was good one.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is it. This is he can't pitch till next year because of the Tommy John surgery, and this is going to be his moment.
This is his moment. Get this series evened up at 1 game apiece. It didn't work out so well. Whatever potions he put together just weren't quite the right elixir, I guess.
Yeah, it must have been the dark arts and it backfired. So
yeah, you got to be careful with that shit.
You do. And then the Sox had it was like I think it was a 1-2-3 top of the 9th, and then wait, who hit Michael Busch hit the home run, right? Yeah. And
what's interesting with that?
What's funny is, like, I had pointed out to you too in one of those text chains, like, fucking Busch just always kills the Sox. I mean, he loves hitting at the rate. He probably, I want to say, how long he's been with the Cubs? What, 3 years now? 3 seasons?
This might be the 3rd.
Yeah. I want to say he probably has 5 to 7 home runs at the rate.
Wow. I like it.
So,
what was interesting about that 9th inning is Venable chose to walk PCA to get to, must have been to, no. It was, how did that work out? I'm already drawing a blank. Bregman hit the home run last night.
Was it Bregman?
Yeah, it was definitely Bregman.
It was Bregman. Okay, that's right.
Because he was joking. They asked him after the game, like, what did he do during the rain delay to prepare him for his glorious moment? He said he was just eating pizza and drinking Dr. Pepper. But I swear. Okay, at least last night I did go to bed, but I turned on the radio. This is so fucking weird. I went, it's like 12:30 at night here in mid Michigan. I checked Facebook's social media feed. And, just seeing if there was a game time update or what they were going to do, if it was canceled or moved to the next day, which would have been ridiculous if they moved it to today. The only notice I got was that they had changed the game time of some Reds game coming up in September. So I'm like, oh, this must be the end of the game. They're not going to play tonight or something. So I don't know how I got that instead of that the game was going to start. I did turn the radio on at least, so I heard the home run and went right to sleep. But
I think the intentional walk to PCA was actually in the bottom of the 8th, right? Because it was a 1-run.
I don't think so.
It was just a solo shot, wasn't it?
Last night, no. I can't believe it. I can't remember. That was only one night ago.
And I actually was up watching it, so that's even worse.
Yeah, it was 4-3.
It was 4-3. So, and it was tied 3-3. So
I'm conflating stories.
Yeah, you're getting some shit mixed up here. Now you're confusing me, which I don't need any help.
You also confused who hit the home run last night. So
don't worry about that.
Let us. Those that live in glass houses should not cast stones.
No, Bush. Oh, Bush was in the first.
Bush
inning.
tied it, I think.
Oh no, I know what happened. It wasn't a home run by Bregman. It was a base hit up the middle and the one and.
You're right.
And then what's his name came around to score.
We're both wrong.
Yeah, we're both wrong. Oh my God.
This isn't even 24 hours ago. Jesus.
Well, it's been such a under the edge of your seat
There's a lot going on.
I mean, it was like, I hate to say a cliche, but it was totally like a playoff baseball series.
I felt like both teams deserved to be in the playoffs. I mean, that looked, everything about it looked like a playoff series. So I mean, the Cubs have a better record, but I don't see that there's a huge difference between the two ball clubs. I think the Cubs are set up better for the playoffs and for down the stretch, just with depth of starting and bullpen pitching. But I mean, I thought the same thing going into the Tigers series, and which we could transition to if you want, or we can stay on it. But I thought your lack of depth in the bullpen and certainly in your rotation was going to cost you going into Detroit, but it certainly didn't there. And it didn't really cost you in this Cubs series. So I don't know how long you can maintain that, but.
Well, I mean, there is help on the way. And we kind of, I don't know if you did, I know I kind of forgot about the Tommy John massacre of 2025, where all those pitchers went down at the beginning of the season with Tommy John. Well, they're all rehabbing right now. And
rest in peace, Tommy John, by the way.
Yeah, rest in peace, Tommy John. 83 years old, was it?
Mm-hmm.
They're all on their way back to the big league ball club.
That's interesting.
Drew Thorpe being one of those guys who was pitching pretty well when he went down with Tommy John. He had 5 innings of 1-run ball, 52 strikes over 72 pitches over 5 innings. That's looking pretty solid to me. So, and then you got bullpen help from that the guy they got from the Mariners, Baroa, who had like a 1.5 ERA when he was pitching on the big league club. So there's, I think, part of something I never even thought about, the trade deadline. And again, you go and you try to get veteran help, especially for a young team like that. And they did in Castile, and he's looked pretty solid compared to what he was doing in Seattle, especially.
Yeah, he's actually better, but he's still not great. I've got his numbers there. I think he's number 3 on that list.
Yeah, let me pull that up. My phone shut off. He is got 15 2/3, 4.60 ERA, 16 Ks over that. Majority of that was that 10K game he had against the Reds, his former ball club, and 2.13 WHIP.
The 4.60 is a little bit more in line with what he'd been doing, probably better than what he'd been doing in Seattle. But 16 Ks is promising. But
5.38 I think is what he came over to us with. So
that's right.
I mean, 4.60 is almost quality start ERA because
right.
4.5,
so
4.5. Everyone goes quality start 4.5, and then you're like, ooh, that's not really that good.
Well, part of the reason I was questioning the depth of your rotation and the taxing of your bullpen is the whole scenario with Davis Martin on last Friday.
Blister boy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to that story. Against the Reds, part of my confidence going into your series against the Tigers, is because you didn't look very good against the Reds. And then Davis Martin is ejected. Was it the second inning? It must have been.
Yeah.
Thus I think Eric Fetty had to come in and just kind of stretching out your entire bullpen. So were you watching that I don't know if you were at work or if you were watching that game.
I was at work. I was getting texts from Robin saying, she's like, Davis Martin just got ejected. And I didn't know anything about what had happened. I can
fill you in a little bit unless you know.
No, I know now. I saw the replays. I mean, I don't disagree with the umpire's discretion on that.
Okay. Yeah, you jumped ahead to actually right where I was going to go, but
because one would say, well, you got to do the warnings, and then he gets ejected. But
let's break it down. I mean, Sal Stewart hit a home run in the first inning, comes up again in the second, and Martin throws a ball right over the top of his head, and it's like Martin looked totally apologetic, and it did not. I didn't think it was intentional.
I don't think either one was intentional, but
I don't think so either.
But it doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah, you're beating me to my point. It's literally they were cool. Like he was totally apologetic, and Stewart actually gave him the thumbs up. He's like, okay, that's cool. Gave him the thumbs up. I understand. Like things get away from you. The very next pitch, he hits him in the face. It's like that you couldn't have any worse optics. I mean, after giving up a home run, throwing over a guy's head and then hitting him in the face, he has to be ejected. And and he was. And it took some deliberation from the umps. Like they were kind of standing around, and there was a lot of discussion. And they finally decided to eject him. And Davis Martin wasn't happy about it, and I think he was a little pissed that he didn't get the warning or whatever. But I think the umpires just saved Murakami, because he would have been plunked for sure. Like if the Reds saw that the umpires weren't going to protect, whether it's intentional or not, which Terry Francona after the game was, I guess protecting his players and playing the role of an irate old manager, but he was convinced it was intentional and he should be thrown out. He should have been thrown out immediately. He was furious about it. I'm like, I think that's bullshit. But if the manager has that mentality, the Reds were going to take matters into their own hands if they felt like the umpires weren't going to. So I think that saved you guys in a big time way. I mean, hopefully any kind of retribution coming from the Reds would have been, hit him in the butt or hit him in the middle of the back instead of headhunting or something. But that could have been terrible. And I think the umpires handled it the right way, even though you and I both agree. I don't think Martin was doing it on purpose, but if he can't control the ball and is a danger to the other players on the field, he has to leave the game.
Yeah, there's nothing to say. You can't see in a crystal ball that the next righty the same thing wouldn't have happened, and then maybe an injury happens, and and if it is because he has a blister on his finger, then obviously he shouldn't have been pitching because he couldn't grip the ball correctly. So,
well, that's another weird part of this, because he said he had a hole in his finger, but it wasn't causing any discomfort. Doesn't sound possible.
I can tell you, I have had a blister on the tip of my finger, and I didn't throw a baseball, and it's very freaking painful.
Yeah. So I don't know what he was saying there, and then of course he goes on the IL, which may have saved him a a suspension potentially, but I guess it's all one and the same thing. But so I guess I didn't know if you were going to be all hard ass and pissed off about it, but no, you've got a mature attitude.
Well,
about
I
everything.
just was thinking, especially people always think like, oh, you get thrown out because you're intentionally doing it. No, the umps are just trying to protect everyone in the game. And that's the part that people don't understand. Where
I wonder if they were deliberating, giving out warnings, but it would have been in the Reds' hands at that point. I think they would have taken retribution.
Right. Once you give the warning, then you're like, okay, go out there and hit them. And we got someone warming up. You see someone warming up too early in the pen. You're like, uh-oh. Something's coming. So, yeah, no, I think that's actually a pretty good, I think that's Ellen Porter's crew. Look at me getting all umpire on you.
Wow.
They're pretty good.
Never even heard that name.
They're a pretty good crew.
He's probably a good umpire because I've never heard of him.
Yeah, exactly. He's pretty good behind the plate. So
nice.
So yeah, I didn't. Well, a part of it I didn't see it, but when I did see the replays, I saw the whole thing broken down, and I was just like, oh yeah. I mean, and his problem, just to go back to Davis Martin real quick, which I hope he comes back a different pitcher is he has not been able. You want to talk about someone who needs an opener? He needs an opener. He has just had terrible first innings. He had that terrible first inning against Boston, and then he completely shut them down through the sixth inning. But he had let up 4 runs in the first inning, and the Sox never recovered in that one. And it was like, or maybe they did. I don't remember. That's so many weeks ago. But
yeah, I can't remember last night.
Yeah, we can't remember last night correctly. And I do remember real quick on last night, PCA was on first when Bregman got the hit.
Yeah. So we're both right. We're both wrong.
Yeah. And
we've cleared that up.
Yeah. So there we go.
Well, that's part of why I thought you were limping into Detroit and thought the Tigers might have a good chance to win a series, which at that point they were 2.5 games back. I thought they could close to within a game and a half.
I think you thought a little bit better with.
I was hoping that they could sweep.
I believe their comment was they might be in first place by the end of this weekend.
Yeah, and that if they had swept, then yes, that was not a prediction like you're wont to do. Every time we have a series, it's they're going to sweep.
I said they were going to take the Sox were going to take 2 out of 3 from the Tigers, is what I said.
I
and that's
remember
going to that's
fine.
Well, go back and listen. But what I will tell you,
go listen.
Yeah, you go listen. This time I'm telling you to go listen. What I will tell you is I'm going to always make the 2 out of 3 prediction from now on because it turns into a sweep.
Yes. Yeah. Frustrating weekend. Pretty much ended the Tigers' hopes of at least winning the AL Central. As now, I think you guys have a 6.5 game lead. The Tigers dropped to like 4th by today. They also lost this afternoon.
They blew a game against the Buccos, right?
Yeah. Kenley Jansen came in and got the first out and then gave up 2 solo home runs to give up the game in 2 pitches. I mean, it's fucking blown saves are so fucking punitive. Tigers, they wasted 8 2/3 innings, a decent game. They're going to take it. And then 2 pitches, it's over. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. So they were actually still in okay shape before that in the AL wild card, but now I think they're probably 2 games back with fighting 7 other teams. Tigers still have the Dodgers on their schedule and the Tampa Bay Rays coming up. So this has spiraled out of control as close as it was. I mean, you guys were the architect of the Tigers' demise, I think, which I'm sure brings you much delight.
It brings me great delight. I was beside myself that whole series. And when we took the first 2 games, I'm like, I'm good. And then it looked like Game 3.
Tigers were up 4-1 at one point in Game 3.
It looked
pissed that away.
Kind of like this game this afternoon. The Sox just, had way better pitching today. And the wind was blowing in. So, I mean, that helped a lot. But, yeah, it was, I was shocked. I actually got up and left and we went and saw Spider-Man during the game. That's why I didn't really text you. On
which game today?
On the Detroit, the final game in the Detroit series.
On Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I went and saw Spider. I'm like, we already won 2 out of 3. I mean, it's all.
I thought you were just being magnanimous as you're about to sweep us, but
it was all cupcakes and rainbows, and all of a sudden I getting my phone's going off, my watch is going off, and I'm like, oh, looks like we're gonna win. We're gonna sweep.
I hope you shut your devices off in the movie theater.
Please.
You're not getting baseball updates while you do that. Are you?
I sure am.
I just saw the Odyssey actually when I was in Chicago a couple weeks ago, and there was an old man in the aisle just down from me, and 45 minutes into the show, not only does his phone go off, the ringer goes off at full volume. He's got his flashlight attached to his ringer. So like the brightest light a phone could possibly make is flashing on and off, and he cannot figure out how to shut it off. Like I was furious at first, and then I just felt bad for him because he's fucking thwarted by technology. But yeah, that's what I'm imagining you getting your White Sox alerts in the middle of the theater.
It was pretty low key, as the kids like to say.
Well, the game one wasn't too. I mean, Jackson Jobe is his second start after Tommy John surgery. Didn't really know what to expect. I expect a little better, but you guys just teed off on him essentially. I think you ended up winning 9-5.
Yeah, 9-5. What a way to make a living.
Game two was shocking to me as Troy Melton he didn't give up that many. I think he only gave up 3 runs, but he gave up like 2 or 3 base runners every inning, which is not what he does. You guys are just teeing off.
Yeah, that was a Melton down game for him.
Again, it was he only gave up 3 runs, but that's awful for him because his ERA was like way below 2 at that point for the season. So that was shocking. And like I said, like game 3, Tigers are up 4-1, and the bullpen blows it. So the bullpen is just the issue of all issues for the Tigers, and the reason for their demise, and a reason. We brought this up, at the trade deadline and last week. I didn't understand what Scott Harris was necessarily doing completely at the deadline. I was 100% for trading Tarek Skubal for obvious reasons. But I thought there was a way for him to thread the needle. Why, trading away Skubal, gaining assets that you have to gain off of the best pitcher in baseball that will not be signing with you in free agency, getting what you can out of that in a historic haul, which we'll see how that actually works out. But at the same time, they could have traded from their deep farm system to get controllable bullpen arms for down the stretch. That was the way to thread the needle. And not only did he not do that, he traded away Casey Mize, who hasn't been that great with San Diego. But what that might have done is, if you kept Casey Mize, at least when Jackson Jobe returned, he could have gone into the bullpen. Throwing 100 miles an hour for an inning or two might have been the way to ease him back, a responsible way to ease him back from injury, and create an asset for your bullpen that needs all the assets it can handle at this point. So that still frustrates me that the Casey Mize was traded and the bullpen was not bolstered, because it's obvious what the Tigers' Achilles heel is, and it's totally the bullpen. That showed up once again this afternoon.
Yeah, it was looking good there. Like you said, they got to 2.5, and I think we had commented right before the series, well, maybe we were wrong to not believe in Scott Harris saying that the Tigers felt like they could still be competitive. And then,
I called bullshit on that day. So.
But here we are, and the White Sox may have put the nail in the coffin. So I don't know.
So after today's, I know you've got to be 5.5 up on the Tigers. I think you've got 4.5.
5.5 on the Tigers, who fell to 4th after today, like you said. 5 on the Guardians before I think they play later tonight or today or some point, and then 4 on Minnesota because they won today. They beat the Braves again, 6-4. So
the Twins, weird ass Minnesota Twins.
And then
I wrote them off before the season even started, and I continue to write them off. But maybe we should re-examine.
Maybe. And then tomorrow the Sox play a day game at home. It's the makeup game. The Braves travel down.
Oh wow, that's a weird. Yeah, I was gonna say day game after a day game.
Yeah,
that's it. That's a big matchup for you guys. Do you know who's starting?
Yeah, Kay's starting tomorrow. We've got 3 starters in a row coming up now, and Thorpe is supposed to pitch tonight for Charlotte. So I'm guessing if he pitches okay again, they may green light him to come up, and he would pitch probably next Tuesday. So we'll see.
Yeah, it could be.
But we all forgot about this too real quick. We forgot about 2 things in the Cubs series to talk about. We got to talk about the fight in the bleachers.
Oh, of course.
The Cubs Sox series. But one other thing I wanted to point out in game 2 is this, even though the White Sox lost that day, Mooney Murakami made his mark on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
He literally, I don't know if he knocked out a light or just scuffed it, but there was a black mark left on the video on the jumbotron.
A diode, or I don't know what the LED technology is, but yeah, he caused some damage. That was I heard him talking about that on Mully and Haw this morning on 670 or 104.3 the score. They're questioning that it was only marked as a 409-foot home run. Like how they were questioning how home run distances are calculated. Like, because literally where that hit the scoreboard has to be 409 feet. But if the scoreboard wasn't there, wouldn't it be like a 500-foot home run? I mean,
you don't know that, right? Exactly.
You'd think with all the pitch tracking technology we have, they could actually estimate where that ball would have landed if not impeded by whatever object in their way. So yeah, it felt like 409 or whatever it was. It was low 400s. Seemed to shortchange what that blast really was.
Yeah, but there was that moment, and then of course, what would a Cubs Sox series be when
a fight
that
it was a confusing fight.
It was a very confusing fight.
It's actually one of the uglier and more well documented fights that I've ever seen. I guess it took a long time too, so people could get their phones out, but there's a lot of confusion, weird shit happening there. That was literally like where I used to sit all the time. I call it the pole position because you're right. I used to sit right in the aisle, right by the exit, so that as soon as the inning ended, I could be the first one to get in that little hallway and go down the stairs to the men's room. I never waited in line once in the bleachers there. So that's a pro tip. Sit over in right center, right by that little exit tunnel. You can get the stairway goes right down to the men's room if you don't want to wait in line. But you don't want to sit there during a Cubs Sox series, apparently, because melee broke out right in front of those seats.
I mean, it looked normal at first in that it was Sox and Cubs fans fighting, but then it got strange when one Ryan Sandberg came in and started beating on another Ryan Sandberg.
They were both wearing Ryan Sandberg jerseys.
And I watched it twice in a row back to back because I'm like, wait, something's not adding up here.
Looked like, even beyond that, it looked like the second Ryan Sandberg guy was trying to push the Sox fans off of him. And after he got the Sox fans away, then he just started wailing on the top of the guy's head. Like, what is going on here? So it's almost like, was it a staged? Are these brothers like that were just in a family feud of sorts?
I don't know.
He got his shots in over issues they've had over decades. I don't know what the fuck was happening.
It was very, very odd. What I also found pretty funny, and this seems to happen a lot in baseball games. This is not a dig on security at Wrigley Field, but it sure did take security a long time to get over there.
They were there and just didn't do anything. And it looks so strange. I've seen that multiple times where the security doesn't, or at least the ushers in the red shirts, they don't really jump in. And I think that's based on lawsuits. I think they're instructed not to get in the middle of fights. I think they're trying to protect people that aren't involved in the fight itself as much as they can and wait for the police to show up, which is what happened. That's the only explanation, because there were ushers there. There were several, but they weren't like pulling people off the pile or stopping haymakers from being thrown. But the only thing I can think of is they are literally instructed to do that, so they're not involved in the fracas and can be involved, get the team involved in lawsuits, I guess. But that's a theory because it does look strange. The funny thing is there's of course the star of the show, the big guy that was sitting down, was getting wailed on by the guy in the tank top and mesh shorts. But it didn't seem like the guy was making much of a dent. Like as many times as he just hit him in the face, it was like didn't really do anything to the guy.
Yeah.
But it was like, and then it looked like another Sox fan just kind of touched the guy's shoulder, which is all he needed to pull him away from him to stop wailing on him. Like, I don't think he wanted to hit him anymore. He wasn't having any effect, but I think he felt bad. The other part that was funny is he tried to escape the situation by going down a few rows and then going up the aisle, in which he ran into 3 policemen immediately, which I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other footage where, people are just screaming, that dude needs to be arrested. Like, that's the guy. That was crazy. I mean, it was ugly. That was one of the uglier incidents. But
in a while, in a long time, actually, I feel like.
Yeah. And you and I have talked about this many times. I feel like when I first started going to the bleachers, close to 30 years ago, fights would happen in any series. It wasn't just Cubs Sox. I'd see fights all the time in the bleachers, prior to being renovated bleachers. I feel like that is good. I mean, I went to so many more games in the teens and actually throughout the 2010s. I didn't hardly ever see fights. So I feel like that's diminished over the time, mainly because ticket prices are so high. You don't want to get kicked out of the seats you paid a premium for. Maybe it's part of it. But Cubs Sox is a different animal. It's unfortunate, but not unexpected. I guess we see it every time, but I don't know. Do you have any more thoughts about the fight?
No. It was just one of the more confusing fights I've ever seen at a Cubs Sox game.
Is there any other shit we forgot from the Cubs or from the Tigers series with your White Sox? I guess one thing I want to mention, people can say the Tigers were depleted going into that series. Kerry Carpenter already on the IL. Riley Green just went on the IL just prior to that series. That was a weird thing too. He got hit in the calf I think it was against the Guardians. And then so he took first base. Then he scored on a double from, I believe it's Torkelson, and had to come out of the game afterwards with a hamstring issue. So it's like he got hit in the calf, but then it fucked up his hamstring. So I don't fully understand that. But the problem with anyone who has the theory that the Tigers suffered against the Sox because they didn't have their full complement is it's just not true. The Tigers scored enough runs. They had leads or were in every game until the bullpen came in. So it's just obvious what's going on with the Tigers. They needed more help in the bullpen. They do not have it. That's all I've got for the Tigers, unless you need to pile on with any other White Sox stuff.
Oh no, I don't think so. I mean, right. The sweep speaks loud enough. I feel like it speaks great volumes, almost as good as winning 3 out of 4 games over who's considered the best team in baseball, the Dodgers, and that would be the Milwaukee Brewers, who are really the best team in baseball, but still number 2 in the power rankings. But
yeah, I mean, how much better is your record than everyone else? I mean, and with a series win in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and they they put out the power rankings on Monday and were like,
we got to just come up with our own parody of power rankings just to make fun of these somehow, because I always thought power rankings were bullshit. You and I used to do power rankings. I think at one point we were doing power rankings for who's the worst team of the 5 we covered at the time.
There was that, yeah.
When the A's were awful and the White Sox were awful and Tigers were awful, it's like, well, let's just do a reverse power ranking. I kind of would rather do that, but power rankings are they're so fucking dumb. But even respectable sports journalists like The Athletic continue to do them incessantly because they get clicks. People fucking love that shit. So we got to figure out a way to cash in on that in an ironic way, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what more you have to do to be number 1 in the power rankings when you have the best record in all of baseball. You went in and beat the quote unquote number 1 power ranked team at their house.
Yeah. And the Dodgers are a mess right now.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I don't get it, but I mean, whatever. It's meaningless because what matters is the real record. But I do want to express some relief I have over the series and what the Brewers did. I'm so glad we didn't get that scrub Scooble, who of course lost the final game
I think
for the Dodgers.
He went like 6 scoreless against you.
No, he let up 1 earned run and 2 runs total. So calm down over there. And I would like to talk about the brilliant move of the best trade made of Dustin May, who, I don't know, he's just put together a 2.08 ERA, 11 Ks, and .923 WHIP compared to Scooble's 3.18 ERA, 19 Ks, and a 1.235 WHIP. Garbage.
May's been great. That's only 2 starts compared to all the other stats I gave you. Everyone else had 3 starts. May pitches tonight, but he's had 13 innings in 2 starts, which is pretty fucking good. So, yeah, I mean, at the trade deadline, he's probably the one we talked about the least of the starting pitchers that moved in or out of our 4 teams here, and he's been the best so far. So it'll be interesting to see what he does tonight to see if that trend continues. But yeah, I mean, it's just more evidence that the Brewers, whatever they touch, turns to gold until it comes to the NLCS. But we'll see if they can change that, because I mean, if anything, that felt like a preview for the NLCS this past week with the Dodgers and Brewers in LA, and certainly the Brewers came through in flying colors.
Yeah, I mean, what a weekend for me. We sweep the Sox, sweep the Tigers, and the Brewers take 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers.
You've had quite a time.
I was on cloud 9. Interesting news out of Milwaukee is, in order to consistently get their bats in the lineup together, Bowers and Vaughn, they're going to start playing Andrew Vaughn at third base.
Whoa. That is not a sentence I thought I'd hear.
This seems very White Sox-esque. So again, the intersection of how both teams handled things at the trade deadline, but this is like, you would think, I guess DH isn't good enough or something. I don't know, but with what they have there, they have to use other person's a DH or something.
I think they probably like to keep it open to give Contreras some time off from behind the plate at least. I don't know what your first base situation is there, but I could see why that might. You got to find a place for Vaughn, but yeah, it feels like the same problem you used to talk about constantly on the South Side.
Yeah, I mean they use Yelich pretty much at DH.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It seems a little risky, but I guess we're gonna find out. So
I think you've got the leeway to have fun with those things, to test it out, see if it works. If it doesn't, just figure something else out. But you've got such a cushion that you can handle that.
Yeah, I mean, he was not used at third in last night's 22-0 disposal of the Mariners.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, it was like a respectable game, at least, I think, through 5 innings maybe, and then it just went crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe they're going to try it tonight. We'll see.
What the hell happened with the Mariners? My God.
I know, and they still have like very decent pitching, but it must be their bullpen. I don't even know. It's like, you got the bullpen and you got like Cal Raleigh returning to his normal form, and
that's what's nuts. Like, I mean, I was arguing he was AL MVP over Aaron Judge last year, and I think it's a legitimate shot when a catcher hits 60 fucking home runs, and now he's like one of the worst players in baseball. 1 year later, like what the fuck was that? Like, it raises questions, I would say, but yeah,
the Brewers got 2 more games against the Mariners this week.
Wow.
And then they had the Braves. The Braves, they did the scheduling good. The Braves went from Minnesota. They're coming down for 1 game in Chicago, and then they head north to Milwaukee for a series. So
congrats on all this MLB logistics.
Good job, MLB logistics.
What time's that game tomorrow? Because the Tigers...
1 o'clock. It's like 1 o'clock, 1:10.
Okay, perfect. I think I don't know if the Tigers are off tomorrow. I know the Cubs are off tomorrow, so that'll be something to watch at least. I'll check out your White Sox and Braves.
White Sox and Braves, and then the mess comes to town after that. So
they've actually been playing a little better as of late, which is surprising. So that might be a more interesting series than we're anticipating, but you never know. That's why we love baseball, because you never know.
You never know. Just when you think you figured it out, when, like I said on Sunday, I thought I was like, oh, well, Burke's pitching on Sunday. This will be somewhat of a low scoring game. And he was the least effective pitcher. I mean, he was still pretty effective, but he was the least effective pitcher of
Tigers got to him. That was one of his shakier starts, but enough for you guys to take the sweep.
All right, that's all I got.
All right. Well, I'm sure there's shit I forgot. This was a wonky episode because there's so much shit going on. It's hard to contain it all within one podcast, but we're doing our best here. So with that, we'll wrap up this episode 195. You can find us on the web at enemyball.com. You can find us online or on social media at enemyball, and you can find this podcast anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So with that, I'm going to declare this podcast is over. Peace.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
One guy poured beer all over my head. The guy said, how can you take that? I said, look, that man didn't do nothing. He poured some beer on my head. He's just showing he's a White Sox fan. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Sparky, a million thanks for, as always, the most interesting interview. And now today, let's just have a lot of thrilling baseball and not so many fisticuffs.
We're at home.